In this video, I will be discussing curiosity versus trick questions and how the practice of pure curiosity can bring you closer to yourself and closer to others. Hey everyone, happy Friday and happy Fridays with Fidelman. I'm Cheryl Fidelman, life coach, trauma healer, and writer. I post a new video every Friday on the topics of trauma healing and codependence because I believe that codependence is the most obvious way that we demonstrate our unhealed trauma in relationship with ourselves and in relationship with others. So please click the bell icon so that you can get notified of my Fridays with Fidelman videos that I put out every Friday, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right. And here we go. So as I've said for the last 7 weeks now, that our Fridays with Fidelman videos have become an intro to the masterclass that's going to be on the following Monday in the Facebook group, live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have our masterclasses at 12 noon Pacific. If you can't make it, the recording is in the timeline. So Monday, our masterclass is on curiosity. This past week, we completed part 7, which was on identity, which was amazing. I mean, again, guys, like amazing participation, amazing shares. Thank you for sharing your lives with me and for listening to my thoughts, ideas, and rants on these topics. And Monday's part 8 on curiosity. The link to join the Facebook group is below. So come join us in these master classes. Like almost 9 hours of material at this point. But they're half an hour at a time at your leisure, so you don't have to soak in 9 hours of coursework, all at once. So Mondays on curiosity. I speak a lot about curiosity. Curiosity to me is the key to healing. It's the key to our, it's almost like the key to noticing ourselves as our true nature. It's the key to trauma healing. It's the key to becoming a sovereign being. It's almost like the answer for me. It's almost the answer to every existential question when it comes to relatedness and connection. And so the reason why I'm calling this curiosity versus trick questions is because I think that one of the blocks that blocks us to curiosity are the trick questions we ask. So, a lot of my clients pose questions like this, and myself included. I don't negate myself in anything that I'm talking about. I'm human. I'm on this healing journey as well. A trick question would be like, I don't know why that person looked at me like that, or like, I don't know what their problem is, or I don't know why they're so mad at me, or I don't know why they're blaming me, or, I don't know why they're talking so much. These are trick questions because they're not real questions. If they were real questions, you'd go, I don't know why they're so mad at me. Let me ask them, why are you so mad at me? That's a real question, right? A real question is like, God, I don't know why they're so mad at me. That's not a question. That the underlying communication there is they shouldn't be mad at me. Or the underlying communication is I'm feeling something from them that I can't handle and I can't interpret and I don't know what it means. Or I'm hearing or feeling something from them and I feel blocked and I feel shamed or I feel guilty or I feel like I did something wrong. Okay? Those are the underlying real communications that are masked as a trick questions like, I don't know what their problem is. And I don't know what their problem is, again, is more like, I can't tell what's going on here. I can't tell what they're communicating to me. I can't tell if I did something wrong. I can't even tell if maybe I'm mad at them and I can't tell, right? So those are the trick questions. The real questions would be like, I'm sorry, my light just went down there. The real question would be like, I'm feeling disconnected and I wonder why. Let me ask the other person, are you feeling disconnected too? Or like the real question would be like, I feel like you're mad at me. Are you mad at me? Or I want to get closer to you and I don't know how. How can I bridge the gap between us right now? Or I'm feeling like you're pushing me away. Are you pushing me away? I'm just curious. Those would be the real vulnerable, that's real curiosity. That's practice of real curiosity. The trick questions shut you out. It may look like the other person is shutting you out. You get an energy or a vibe, or somebody says something, or your partner is not paying attention, or whatever's going on over there with them. And you feel a shutdown from them, and you go, oh, I don't know what their problem is. That is you shutting yourself down and shutting them down. You're putting a block. And opening is a curiosity. Hey, are you mad at me? Or like, I'm feeling disengaged and I can't tell if it's your fault or my fault. And the first place where curiosity is curiosity with yourself. Because some people are like, Cheryl, I don't have that kind of self-expression. Like, I can't just ask somebody, are you mad at me? Or I can't just tell somebody, like, I have something to say and I don't know how to say it, right? That's another thing. Like, we may have something to say, we don't know how to say it, and in codependence, it looks to us like the other person can't hear us. They can't hear me, so I'm just not going to express myself. When the place to look at is over here. How come I can't express myself? What does it feel like? What do I make it mean when I think that they can't hear me? Why am I willing to shut down and not say the thing that I want to say? Why am I willing to do that? And everything goes back to unhealed trauma from when we were children. If we were raised by parents who couldn't hear us, then it is second nature for us to not say the thing we want to say. We're so willing to just not say the thing we want to say, especially if we feel like the other person won't hear us, or they won't understand us, or they'll get mad at us, or they'll misconstrue what we're saying. So we go, repression, I can do that. Sure, I'm well trained in repression. I did it my whole childhood. I can do it in my adulthood. But the thing is, you don't have to. And the first person to be curious about is yourself. Why am I willing to repress this communication? Why am I so willing to not say it? Why am I so willing to go, I feel guilt and shame and disconnection right now. Let me ignore that I feel those things and act like everything's fine. Curiosity, self, why am I willing to act like everything's fine when it's not? The first person to ask is yourself. A trick question to self would be, or how would I put that? A trick question to self would be like, ugh, why am I so angry? Or why is that bothering me? Or why that shouldn't bother me? Or what's my problem? Or there's something that I want to say, but like, why would I want to say that? Why would I even want to say that? So you're asking yourself questions that are trick questions. They're really shut down questions. They're really, you want to say something and it's like, I'm not going to say that. Why would I want to say that? Or I'm feeling something. It's like, I shouldn't feel that thing. Why am I feeling that thing? It's not a real question. A real question would be self. Why am I feeling this? What is underneath it? What is encouraging this feeling? What's the root of this feeling? Am I feeling judged? Am I feeling shut out? Am I feeling not safe? And if I'm feeling not safe, why would I feel unsafe? You have to keep asking yourself why. And this is a little redundant from a video that I put out on curiosity. Like, I'll put it in the thing, in the notes below. To keep asking yourself why, okay? Why is unending. If you ever land in an answer, why do I feel this way? Or why does my bank account look this way? And you have some sort of answer, and you've landed in what feels like a concrete answer, keep going. Keep going. Because the self is a never-ending inquiry. The more you uncover, the more you keep putting curiosity towards yourself, keep feeding yourself curiosity, as if there's an unlimited amount of curiosity, like a child. Why is that? Why? Unlimited curiosity. This will provide you openness and self-expression and vulnerability, and it will start to give you the ability to ask other people why. Why are you mad at me? Why do you feel that way? What does it feel like to you? What happened? Is there something I did that you interpreted a certain way, and how did you interpret that? Because once we land in an answer, we're done. We're done connecting with the other person, and we're done connecting with ourselves. And part of that is like, if you go, I don't know why they're mad at me, they shouldn't be mad at me, that's not right. That's an answer. That's an answer. You're asking yourself a trick question, you come up with a trick answer, you're done. There's no more connection with them, and there's no more connection with yourself. Or if somebody accuses you of something, right? Like mainly, since I focus on codependence, it's important for me to continually look at the codependent narcissistic stronghold dynamic, right? When as codependents, we want to people please so much, and we put somebody else's reality ahead of our own, and everything that they say has to be true, right? Like their interpretation has to be the true interpretation. We're so willing to give up our feelings and our interpretation for somebody else's. So we go, okay, that's your reality and that's your interpretation, then that must be accurate. Or since you have your reality and your interpretation and you're not going to listen to mine, then I'll just shut mine out. Or if somebody accuses you of something that you didn't do, which happens a lot in a codependent narcissistic relationship, because people are interpreting you as if you're the biggest threat to their life, and you're just trying to prove as a codependent, I'm not a threat, I'm not a threat, I'm not a threat, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Instead of going, let me be curious about this person I'm with, about this person that occurs as narcissistic or overwhelming with the reality. Where did you get that from? Where did you get that interpretation from? Was it from your childhood? What happened in your childhood? When you have more understanding and curiosity of what is behind people's points of view and their reaction, then you start to practice not taking it personally. It has nothing to do with you. And you can keep the curiosity going on in their world. And curiosity towards somebody else is also never ending. There is a limitless amount of curiosity you can pour into someone's world just to get to know what is going on over there. And your practice of pure curiosity will disarm your codependent, people-pleasing habit. Because most of people-pleasing is because we are taking on somebody else's reality as if it's our own, that we have to manage and fix and act like we're doing a good job. But when you're curious, you go, oh, there's nothing for me to manage and fix over there with you, because what you're saying has nothing to do with me, but it's interesting and it's fascinating and I understand your world. And that will start to disempower and disengage the stronghold of the codependent narcissistic relationship. Because as I've said many, many times, codependence, the want to be wanted, the need to be needed, and or the need to prove oneself. And when you're curious about somebody and you realize that everything they're saying has absolutely nothing to do with you, then there's nothing for you to prove. Because we get stuck in proving that we're good. We did nothing wrong. When you're curious and you're not taking anything personally, there isn't intrinsically nothing you've done wrong. The other person is just imposing and projecting their world onto you. And you're going, instead of going, the projection that you're projecting onto me is inaccurate, it's inaccurate, it's inaccurate, you're trying to prove their reality wrong. Instead, you just start to understand their projection. I understand why you would say that to me because I know where you came from. I understand why you would say that to me because I know how you interpret the world. I investigated into your childhood and how your psychology developed and how your trauma, shades and filters the way you see love and connection. So I understand why you would think that way. And then the thread of the relationship could either get closer or it can disintegrate. And we have to be willing to lose. That is the ultimate, what is sort of behind healing codependence, becoming a sovereign being and leaning into the practice of curiosity. We have to be willing to lose. We have to be willing to lose proving ourselves. We have to be willing to lose the want to be wanted, the need to be needed. So I'm going to pose a question to you all right now. What are some trick questions that you have asked yourself, or you've asked other people, or you've asked yourself about other people, that if you were to investigate and open up a practice of curiosity around that question, then you would see that that question isn't a stop sign, it's a green light to open up connection with yourself and or with others. If there's a trick question that you've asked yourself, like, why am I like this? Or why do I procrastinate? Or why isn't my office organized? Or why aren't I talking to my partner about this one thing? Is there an actual answer? Or have you just stopped because you've gotten frustrated or angry with yourself about it? Is there an actual answer? That probably the answer dates historically all the way back to your childhood. Is there a question that you have about somebody else? Like, why do they talk so much? Or why do they dress like that? Or why won't they just listen to me? Is there a question about somebody else that has become for you a stop sign in your communication with them, where if you actually pose the question, right? Like, why do you dress like that? Or why do you seem distant? If you actually asked them and formed it as an actual, or why, or like, I interpret you as if you talk a lot, and why do you do that? And am I, what's that like for you? What's communication like for you? Or I'm interpreting you as if you talk a lot. Do you talk a lot? And really what's underneath that, if I were to be curious about myself, I just want you to hear me more. I want more room to talk. So if you were to open up some questions that you have about yourself and other people that are trick questions, that are stop signs, that if you infuse them with curiosity, you would open up connection with yourself and others. That's the question that I'm posing today. So feel free to put the answer in the comments. Feel free to email me, Cheryl@FidelmanConsulting.com. I love emails and sharing back and forth about people's lives. And also, if you have any alternate ideas, like, hey Cheryl, you said this thing, I don't necessarily agree with it, and this is what I think, or you said this thing and I agree with it and I want to add an idea, great. Let's keep opening up the conversations every week. I love it. One more place to look to infuse curiosity, and this is kind of just another way of saying what I've already said, but if we look at even a grander picture, like, what are the areas that you are just blocked out of communicating with yourself or with others, with your employer, with your family members, with your partner, with your spouse? What are some topics that are just no-go areas? And the first person to ask would be like, self, why am I willing to have that be a no-go area of communication? What's going on with me that is just taken out of the equation to assess and inquire about and talk about? So that would be another question I pose. What are your no-go areas? What are your blocked out areas with yourself and others that you just walk around or you talk around instead of infusing them with curiosity? Or you have trick questions or trick statements. Trick statements, we don't talk about this because of that. Or we don't talk about this because of that. Or, well, we just don't touch that topic because of this, right? So you have like some simple Band-Aid over why, and that is what gives you permission and gives you your evidence to be not expressed and repressed in that area. So what are your trick questions and trick statements that are like, just, have you Band-Aid a situation and just not talk about it? All right, guys, I think that's everything. I mentioned the bell icon. I mentioned subscribing. I mentioned my masterclass. I'm trying to mention all of these YouTube appropriate things because I'm trying to increase my views, and there's certain things you have to say. So I'm just learning all of this YouTube stuff. So, the other thing that I want to say is please email me if you'd like to have a free trauma healing consultation, one-on-one consultation, be face-to-face on Zoom, so that we can see if we're a match to work together for my trauma healing work. And it is my commitment that whether you sign on to my program or not, whether we're a match or not, that you gain value out of the free consultation. All right, everybody, please subscribe. Hit the bell icon so that you can get notified of my videos. You are awesome. Happy Friday. Have an awesome weekend. Happy healing, and life is now. Bye. One more thought to ask yourself when you're asking yourself questions about yourself and your life and about where you're at in your life. Like, why am I in the relationship that I'm in? Or I should be in a relationship, or I shouldn't be in a relationship, or why am I in this job that I'm in? Or why does life look the way it does at this point in my life? If you're asking yourself questions that are dead-end questions and they're more like judgments of yourself, they're trick questions, they're not real questions, you actually can pose them as real questions and get real answers. Like, why am I where I'm at in my life right now? Why do I have the job that I have? Why do I have the relationship to intimacy that I have? Why do I have the partner that I have? And you really can start self-investigating and use the practice of curiosity on yourself instead of having questions just be some dead-end self-judgment. And when you apply curiosity to yourself, if you come up with an answer that is like a dead end, if you start investigating and you're like, oh, this is why I have an answer to the question, and that answer doesn't provide you with growth and possibility and transformation, keep asking. If the answer to your questions doesn't provide you with self-expression, the antithesis of repression, if it doesn't provide you with an access to your talents, gifts, and your purpose, keep asking. Don't allow yourself to land. If you're in the process of curiosity, don't allow yourself to land in dead-end answers that have you stuck without movement. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening to my thoughts, ideas, and rants. Be curious. Okay, bye.